So, hello guys, we have with us our special guest, Mr. Patrick. So, I want you, Sir Patrick, to introduce yourself to the audience.
So I'm a teacher from England. I'm a behavioural specialist and educational language specialist. That means I work with children who develop their language skills quite late on, so they don't establish vocabulary or speaking until they're much later, so 5, 6, 7. And I work with children with extreme behavioural problems, ADHD, ADD, and vast forms of autism.
And we're literally seriously looking forward towards such specialists because we do not have such kind of teachers in our school, such kind of professionals in our school. So we literally looking forward towards you. So I'm going to start with the comments that I have received from different members. So I'm going to take I'm going to read the comments. I'm going to read the questions for you, and you're going to answer them. And then I'm going to translate that questions and answers.
Okay.
So, how's your experience, by the way, interacting with Pakistani people, and how do you feel?
Well, I've got two Pakistani children in my class.
Oh, so, really?
Yes,
wow.
One speaks Hindi and Urdu, Pakistani as well, and speaks Kenyan. So he speaks quite a few languages, and we've got one who has just migrated about 2 years ago from Pakistan. Oh. So, which is fantastic. You know, they're having a great time. Very, very intelligent boys.
Oh, wow. So, intelligent boys. Okay. So, have you learned some Urdu words from them or not really?
No, because they're quite shy. They don't like speaking their mother tongue at school. I always try to encourage them, but they say no. So
it's okay. Perfect. They will get used to it. All right, now. So, all right, here is the first comment. Wow, that's amazing. I really need help in writing. So, this is the first comment about writing. So, what do you suggest?
So the biggest thing I have with parents I communicate with is motivating their child to write.
Okay.
Sometimes if you just say to a child, okay, you're going to now write a story, start writing. It's not going to work. You're not going to get anything out of it. You have to create this enjoyable, engaging environment around them to intrigue them in. Here we call it a hook. So the idea is we provide them with something that's engaging and stimulating for them to turn around and go, oh, okay, now I'm invested.
Maybe we can give them prompts or pictures, like picture prompts, so that they could get started on. What do you suggest?
Invest time in the engagement. The first half an hour you spend shouldn't be about writing. It should be about communicating ideas and enjoyment of this topic. So if I was going to talk about writing a story about a pirate, I wouldn't say to you, let's just write a story about a pirate. I would explore what it is to be a pirate. What does a pirate mean? Wearing the clothing, depends on their age groups. I teach a higher end children. I still do role play as a form of stimulating them to get invested in what they're doing. Finding a really engaging book as well.
So, guys, the point he raised, there are a few points that he raised. Number one, that it should be very interactive and engaging. You guys have to stimulate the ideas. You guys have to communicate the ideas. You can talk about. You should communicate first. Maybe show them pictures, tell them stories, give them ideas, show them videos and stories, whatever. So, first step is to talk, to develop communication. Once you are done, then try to engage him with some colorful pencils and things and that, so that some attractive materials, so that he is willing to go towards writing. And do you want to suggest something on fine motor skills development?
Yes, if it's an issue with actual writing, so the physical movement of writing, don't use a pen or pencil. Don't use any equipment. A tray of sand is quite a good one, so they can use their fingers to kind of draw into the sand, or just give them some paint. Get them to the idea of drawing, but you don't want to just facilitate writing as being, right, we've got a piece of paper, we've got a pen or a pencil.
Okay, we should not go to pen and pencils directly. We should not go to the equipment.
With that, then because you're discouraging you're making a disconnect between writing and they're not good at something. Do you ever want to do something you're not very good at? No. We need to make them confident before we get them onto doing that.
We need to make them confident before we get on writing. I'm going to translate these sentences into Urdu, whatever we have discussed, and we'll move towards the next comment.
Yeah.
So guys, पहली क्यूरी थी आयशा इमरान के, वो राइटिंग के बारे में पूछ रही थी, तो इलिट ने बहुत अच्छे से एक्सप्लेन कर दिया है कि राइटिंग इंटरैक्टिव और एंगेजिंग होनी चाहिए, और बच्चे में आपने पहले कॉन्फिडेंस बिल्ड करना है, उनको मटेरियल ला के दें, कलरफुल सा इक्विपमेंट पे बाद में आए, कुछ आप स्टोरीज आइडियाज आपस में शेयर करें, कम्युनिकेशन डेवलप करें। जब बच्चे के साथ आपकी बॉन्डिंग बन जाए और आपको लगे कि ठीक है हमने इनफ डिस्कशन, फॉर एग्जांपल पायरेट पे हमने उसको डिस्कस कर लिया, स्टोरी बिल्ड कर लिए, कैरेक्टर स्केचेस अपने माइंड में बिल्ड कर लिए, उसके बाद आप स्टेप बाय स्टेप वीडियोस, स्टोरीज, पिक्चर्स और एंड में आके आप राइटिंग पर आएंगे। और I would suggest something, and that is we should provide word bank for the beginners. What do you say?
Say that again, sorry.
I'm saying that for the beginners, what do you say if we give them the word bank, if we like aid them with some vocabulary words?
All right, so to just talk about that action, almost like a comic book in relation to,
exactly.
So absolutely, I think, you know, I teach, again, older children, and I at the time use picture books alone, with no words.
Picture books.
And I can still get writing out of
Picture books with no words. All right. So picture books आप introduce करवाएं जिसपे कम अल्फाज हो या बिल्कुल अल्फाज ना हो. All right. There is the next comment. We really need help in homeschooling. Yes, this is something I really want to discuss, and we hope you could guide us. Thanks again. So she's interested about homeschooling. What is the difference between schooling, unschooling, and the freestyle learning without curriculum and everything? I want you to go I want you to give a brief introduction about homeschooling.
I mean, homeschooling, you know, it's the freedom of creating a timetable that is very unique and caters completely for that child. You don't have to take into consideration anyone else. It's solely based on your child, which the bonuses are you can do stuff that your child will enjoy. Now, the problem with schooling at times is you can teach something that not everyone is going to enjoy or find interesting.
True.
So play to that strength.
So basically, you're trying to say that individual concerns and individual development of the child is concerned. Like, for example, if I homeschool my own child, so he has own preferences. So I'm going to set the timetable that suits me. And how much time do you suggest? How much time do you suggest is enough for a day, like an hour or so or whatever, for homeschooling?
You have to take into consideration there's longer lessons at school because of transitions, and also they can have discussions with other children. You're now limiting yourself to having one child in this, so you need to have shorter lessons. And that's fine because that child's still getting the same out of it. They just don't have the same communication they would because of other children. 20 minutes is fine. Little and often is my approach. Lots of breaks because then you're disconnecting. Ours is continuous. You're nice and choppy, and they'll learn more from that.
All right, so you suggest that to start with, because we are not discussing like that, we have only one child and the discussion time is very less. If we compare to the traditional schools where everybody gets a chance, maybe 5 minutes, everybody gets 5 minutes to talk. So here I'm going to translate. अच्छा, वो homeschooling के बारे में ये बता रहे हैं कि homeschooling जब आप बच्चे को घर में कर रहे हैं तो क्योंकि आपके पास एक ही बच्चा है और उसकी नीड्स डिफरेंट हैं, जैसे आपके बच्चे को शायद रीडिंग में इंटरेस्ट है, राइटिंग में नहीं है, मैथ में वो वीक है या साइंस में वो अच्छा है. सो आपका होम स्कूलिंग का प्लान आपके बच्चे के इंडिविजुअल नीड्स पे डिपेंड करता है, नंबर 1. नंबर 2, उन्होंने बोला कि कितना टाइम देना है, तो स्टार्ट विद 20 मिनट्स. आप 20 मिनट से स्टार्ट करें और उसको इंगेजिंग बनाएं, इंटरेक्टिव बनाएं, क्योंकि डिस्कशन टाइम बहुत कम होगा. स्कूल्स में डिस्कशन टाइम ज़्यादा होता है क्योंकि वहाँ पे स्टूडेंट ज़्यादा होते हैं, नंबर ऑफ स्टूडेंट ज़्यादा होते हैं. थैंक यू, एंड वी आर गोइंग टू द नेक्स्ट कॉमेंट नाउ. Fakhra Yasmin, and she is saying, hi Patrick, would really appreciate if you could share some tips on reading and speaking English. Many of them have asked about reading and speaking, so I want you to address all of them and resolve this. You have shared one video as well.
Yeah, so for me, the biggest thing, and that goes for people who are English as an additional language or someone who's learning English, I can only talk from an English point of view, is that got to move away from teaching through words. It still happens where we give them a picture and it's a word next to it. Well, it just doesn't work. Once you recognize what the picture is and you can associate that with that picture, fine. But actually, you're learning entirely new language, whether or not that's English or your English is your second language. You've got to start with phonemes and sounds. Start there, and that will work in reading. So what I just tend to do is get them to sound what they're doing. So if they're on a swing, what sound would make sense for like a we sound, isn't it, which you're going back and forth. Get them to vocalize that. Vocalize and have those conversations using sounds, not just the words and the letter names, but actually the sounds you're making. And move that into, okay, let's focus on a selection of phonemes. And that goes into CBC words, really basic. And that's looking at in an English curriculum that is preschool, so like nursery, kindergarten, to then year 1, which is grade 1, and the first year of school.
So here, when like English is our second language, as you said, and we should start with the sound, the phonemes you said, and we should move to CBCs and everything, I understand. And we should not directly move to the words. For example, table, no, ta-able, that's what you're trying to say. I'm getting your point. So I want you here to discuss about adult modeling, because in our homes we speak in Urdu. So how about if we model that thing in front of our child? For example, if I ask my child to bring, I won't say cup, I would say cup up. Maybe that would help. So what do you say about this? This is just an idea that I do.
Yeah, so if it is a case of translating, then for me, then yes, I think you can associate one word in a language to the other, and then using blending and phonemes. But blending is really important because you don't want them to say cut up every single time they say cut. So then you have to encourage, yes, they're absolutely right, the phonemes are there. Right, now how can we blend it? Because then they're going to walk around and say cut up every single time. So blending is that fundamental kind of glue that pulls it all in. And that's really important, and that comes with just practice and just recognizing the sounds and how they work together.
I have a technique that I shared with them, robot arms, where you say cup up, cup.
Yeah.
So this is another technique. Maybe we appreciate them to use that.
Yeah, so it's another one is like, so it's cut up.
Yes, cut up, cup. Yeah. Exactly.
Yeah, let's encourage it physically. So
physically encourage it, because we have different kind of learners. Some are visual learners, some are audio learners. So to meet those needs. All right, I'm going to translate this. We will move to the next. All right, अब रीडिंग के बारे में जब बात की तो उन्होंने बोला कि आपने साउंड से शुरू करना है, वर्ड से शुरू नहीं करना, आपने बिल्कुल खप टेबल ऐसे नहीं बोलना, आपने ख से स्टार्ट करना है. रोबोट आर्म्स एक टेक्निक है, मैंने अपने लाइव सेशन में शेयर की थी, आप देखिए. उन्होंने ये वाली टेक्निक बताई कि 3 स्टेप्स में 3 लेटर्स कर उनको एक ज्वाइन करना है. इसके अलावा उन्होंने हमसे शेयर किया कि आपने जितना फिनीम्स पर आप फोकस कर सकते हैं आप करें, साउंड्स पे फोकस करें, वर्ड बिल्डिंग पर बाद में जाएं. बिकॉज हमारी इंग्लिश मादरी ज़बान नहीं है, कौमी ज़बान नहीं है, तो उसके लिए हमें ये प्रैक्टिस करनी पड़ेगी. जितनी प्रैक्टिस करेंगे उतनी बेहतर होंगी. Thank you. Now there is another comment from Madiha Sadiqi. She's saying, "Oh wow, Patrick Elliott, you behavior therapist, me also welcome in the group." So she is just wishing you and welcoming you because she is from the same profession. So we are lucky to have. Okay, very good. So Afifa Iftkhar is saying, "Thank you so much. My child is in nursery. I'm concerned about making him